Good morning. It is Tuesday, May 9th, I believe. I know it's Tuesday. I just got back from visiting my kids in Alabama, and I've been gone for almost 3 weeks. So today we're gonna just kind of take a walk through. I got some harvesting and some other stuff to do. So we'll just take a quick little tour today and maybe put in some comparisons to how we were at one before I left. This is obviously a big one. My plants grew like crazy while I was gone. We finally started getting some rain, and the weather has been kind of like in the 90s and stuff. Just kind of stepping off the porch here. Ooh, look at what is greeting us this morning. That is a spotted oleander moth caterpillar. When I was gone, there was probably like 4 or 5 of them on there. We still have one on there. Isn't he a beauty? Oh, and there's another one. Kind of see him, he's underneath, so you can just see him poking out the top. There's plenty of plant here for them to eat, and they're not near as hungry as the monarch caterpillars, so we will go see those later. My ginger and turmeric are just exploding. My lettuces and spinaches are gone. And pretty much this part of the yard hasn't changed too much. We did add a hibiscus here, a little white one, which has not unfurled yet. And while I was gone, Rob planted one of the rosellas that we had started from seeds. So there's one here, there's one on the other side of the house. My coffee bush went full force blooming. And it's still blooming a little bit, and then we should get some berries on it and track some birds. That one hasn't done much of anything, and I apologize for the sun. It's 8:30 or so in the morning. My bamboos. This is the Meyer lemon tree, and look at those beautiful little lemons. Just so pretty. Lime tree, not much for limes, but we have a beautiful little spider web in here this morning. See if we can find it with the camera. There we go. That is a new plant that I got right before we left, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember the name this morning. I will see if I can look it up. And my Valencia orange tree not only has a couple of oranges, and look at that, another caterpillar, but we also have some more blooms. My little tomatoes that I planted from little squish tomatoes are still down there. They haven't done much, but it looks like I need to take some grass out. My squash is pretty much done. I think we have one more over there. We definitely decided that next year we're going to put them up on some kind of trellising system. The wind really knocked them around a lot. And we did have Rob harvested 2 while I was gone. But they already had bugs in them, so we harvested one last night a little early. My Barbados cherry tree. We did get a fire bush planted. Our fence is obviously in. This is the last of my milkweeds. And I'm going to just put you up there so you can see all of the freaking caterpillars. How crazy is that? There's even little caterpillars down here on these little bitty stalk left ones. Little bitty caterpillars over here. And in the last video, we had these covered so the plants could recover a little bit. And we're thinking we might just separate them out through the yard so they're not just so, maybe make the caterpillars work at them a little bit. My goldenrod looks like it's going to get ready to flower. Excuse me. It's one of the new vines I planted, and again, I can't remember the name. I have to make placards for all this stuff. My flowers that I had in a cage, zinnias. You can see my calendula is blooming. And I have some other plants still growing in there. My cleome is about done. My pentas is still going. My impatient is about done. My American beautyberry, oh my goodness. It has not only flowered, but we have lots of little berries in there that will be turning bright purple here. My giant snapdragon is still just going. I planted some more zinnias down below before I left. And just flowers, my peppermint, my Cuban oregano. I harvested pretty heavy before I left. And it looks like it's pretty much stayed put. Just the other flowers I had here. My purple sweet potato. That is one sweet potato. And it is spilling over all the sides. And it has bloomed. And we should be able to harvest it here at the end of the month. Another new addition to our yard. A nice bird bath. You can see on the back fence there I have a honeysuckle vine. This was the other patch of milkweed that we had, and you can obviously see it's completely denuded and eaten down. When I was gone, Rob said that we had spice bottle swallowtail. I'll verify if that's correct. Laying eggs and checking out my fennel and the dill and the carrots and the cilantro, because my cilantro is also flowering quite heavily. And my little cage back here with I think a cayenne pepper and a volunteer tomato. And my lemongrass is finally starting to get tall. While I was gone, Rob took the fencing off of this, and we have cucumbers growing. We have a little cucumber down there. We have another one up there, and some pole beans coming up, and a carrot patch. It's another vine that we got. All the vines that we put back here are native and attract butterflies and stuff. This is a sweet pea vine. This little guy here is the red passion flower that was in my last video. And it has had caterpillar after caterpillar on it. So we're trying to make sure that they don't just eat it all up. And then we do have a bloom, which is very cool. We planted a bird's eye pepper here that we got at the native nursery before I left. A fig tree, kind of doing its thing. Shrimp plant. Some other plantings over there. Our double red hibiscus is not blooming this morning. However, Rob has pulled buckets of tomatoes off of this Everglades tomato. Our Calamundan. We did harvest some of these before I left, and I will harvest a few more this morning. They taste more limey than orangey, I will say. They're quite tart. I have no idea what that fungus is, but that's kind of an interesting thing. Rob got our dragon fruit in the ground on a post. Excuse me. This is another new addition, one I'm most excited about. This is actually a Ceylon cinnamon bush. It is native to Florida, Mexico, and the Bahamas. And it is what they make Ceylon cinnamon out of. So now I have my cinnamon. Our vegetables here, the tomatoes are finally taken off. Rob went through and thinned them out quite a bit. Everything else is pretty much growing, but taking its time. giant marigold there. This bed though, oh my goodness. I will back up here. Look at how much growth happened while we were gone. It is just crazy. These are my asparagus beans or yard-long beans. I will pick those. We have another one over here ready to pick. And then the cute little snapdragon-like blossoms that happen in the morning. And we will pull that guy out from behind the gutter. My other green beans are growing in here. It looks like we have some blossoms. Also, obviously the marigolds really are happy in here. We have an okra. I found it last night. Let me see if I can find it again. Well, I found the right plant. Oh, there we go. There is an okra. Our okras and sweet potatoes in here are just going to town. The white ones are super happy, and the orange ones are finally taken off. There are a couple pepper plants in here. They're still very little, but the okra is really happy. Same thing on that end. This is another native vine. This one is a blue aster vine, and it blooms later in the year throughout the winter. A little false heather on the other side of the fence. And this is my cantaloupe bed. Remember a month ago we just had 3 little clumps of plants, and now it is spilling out all over the ground, flowering profusely. And my morning glories are up here, and don't they just look pretty? And my Hong Kong orchid tree with the flowers at the bottom. Looks very nice, all leafed out. And I have one more thing to show you, and it's not my pineapples. I think we're going to get some more and try them some other places in the yard and see if we can't get that figured out. My other little tomato plant, about the same as the other ones. The bamboos. My bananas are super happy. We have twice as many leaves as before. My compost bin is growing something. We haven't figured out what yet. But the Namwa bananas have a baby. They sent up another shoot. Super exciting. And that's about it, folks. There's my other roselle. Just going to add on a little bit here. This is my herb bed. And it also just exploded while I was gone. And I trimmed it up really heavily before I left and dried a bunch and took some with me to Alabama. But I am fixing to do that again. The white flowering one here is my cilantro, and I was going to cut it back because I don't really want it to go to seed. But Rob said that the butterflies are really enjoying it, so I'll go ahead and leave it. The really tall one here is Columnar basil, and it obviously lives up to its name. I have a small column shrub here living in the middle of my herb garden. But I am going to go ahead and get back to work and pick a bunch of these and get them ready to go into the dehydrator. Thin it out a little bit. Thanks. Thank you for watching and spending some time with me. And have a great day.